Hey St. Francis, welcome back to another mustard seed video. Today we're going to talk about the love of Jesus, the love of others, and the cross. This Sunday's gospel is from St. Matthew, so let's just jump right in. Jesus said to his apostles, "Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Are we not supposed to love our parents? No, of course, we should love our parents. But who is number one? Jesus wants us to make sure that he is always number one. Because if we put him first, we'll be able to love others even more. Let's keep reading. "And whoever does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Wow. That seems kind of tough. To pick up your cross, to lose your life. What does Jesus mean by that? Jesus means that we must live a life of love, even if we have to sacrifice. We shouldn't just live for ourselves. We should live for him, for Jesus, and for others. This life of love might cause us to suffer sometimes. And actually, we're all going to suffer at some point. We've all fallen down. Maybe we've all felt lonely, or we've all felt scared. But all that suffering, we can give it to Jesus. And if we give it to Jesus, it turns into a precious gift of love. We'll talk more about that later. Jesus continues. He says, "Whoever receives you receives me." We're his representatives. "And whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. Whoever receives a prophet because he is a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever receives a righteous man because he is a righteous man will receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever gives only a cup of cold water to one of these little ones to drink, because the little one is a disciple, amen, I say to you, he will surely not lose his reward." Now maybe it sounds like I need a cup of water with my voice. I was singing too loud, so I lost my voice. But Jesus is inviting us to share his love that he's given us with the world. And when we do that, we actually find out that we meet Jesus. By loving, we receive. It's kind of a beautiful mystery, and sometimes it seems so hard to not be selfish, to give. But Jesus promises that we will always receive. And even more than that, when we give, when we love, we're actually loving and meeting Jesus himself. So let's go to a couple places. Hey guys, here I am at Maria Stein. It's like an hour north of Dayton. And I'm at a retreat center. And I want to come to this retreat center because of this huge cross. I don't even know how tall that it is. 20 feet, 30 feet. It's huge. And I want to come here because today Jesus tells us to take up our cross. Why does he tell us this? Well, first I just want to talk a little bit about what the cross is. Of course, we know that Jesus suffered for us on the cross out of love, and he saved us from our sins. So the cross is amazing for that reason. But it's also a pretty cool symbol. Look, it stands between heaven and earth, right? So it connects God, who's in heaven, with us who are on earth. It stretches tall like that, but it also stretches sideways because it embraces all. I don't know if your parents ever did this. My parents did this when I was growing up. They said, "How much do you love me?" And I said, and I stretched my hands out, "This much." Right? And Jesus says the same thing to us. How much does he love us? Well, look at the cross. He stretches his arms wide open to us. So the cross is beautiful because it connects us with God, and it loves and it embraces and accepts every single human. Jesus died on the cross out of total love for us. Now, Jesus today tells us that we also must pick up our cross. Well, what does that mean? That means we have to put God first, as Jesus told us today, above everything else. It means that we have to love all, right? Just like the cross embraces all. So we have to love all. But it also means that when we suffer, which everyone suffers, right? Everyone goes through pain. Everyone goes through times of trial. Maybe when we're lonely. Maybe when we feel like we're not understood. Jesus wants us to pick up that cross and carry it with him. Jesus is with us always. So no matter what we suffer, no matter how bad we feel, Jesus is there loving us. Jesus tells us to pick up our cross because everyone has to suffer. But as Christians, we know that we can suffer with Jesus. And that suffering is a powerful prayer. And it's a powerful act of love. Now that's probably pretty mysterious. But the next time that you're feeling down, the next time that you go through some pain, know that Jesus is with you. Hey there, guys. Here I am at the St. Vincent de Paul shelter. And this is a beautiful place which does the work that Jesus talks about in today's gospel. As we heard at the cross before, as Christians, we are called to love. We're called to be open to God and to all others, no matter what, to love everyone. And that's the work that St. Vincent de Paul here does. There are some people who can't get enough food or who can't get proper shelter in this world. It's very sad. But there are great organizations and great people like the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which comes to their help. Jesus says, whoever gives a drink of cold water to any little one gives a drink of cold water to Jesus himself. At St. Vincent de Paul, at many other organizations, there are people who, not because they have to, but because they love Jesus, because they love God, that they come to the aid, they come to the help of those in need. It's such beautiful work. It's the work of Jesus. And what does that mean for us? Well, I think maybe have you seen it at St. Francis parking lot? We have a donation bin where you can donate clothes or a piece of furniture to St. Vincent de Paul. Something beautiful that you can do. Go through your closet maybe. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But what is our task as Christians? Our task as Christians to love God and to love our neighbor. St. Vincent de Paul does that in such a concrete and real way. We are also called to love our neighbor, whoever God puts in our path, and we are called to love those who are in the greatest need. All right, so we heard about putting God first, picking up our cross, so no matter what we suffer, knowing that Jesus is with us and giving that to him. And we also learned about loving others. Just like the cross is open-handed out of love, so we are supposed to give open-handed to those around us. So the challenge this week, of course, continue your prayer. That's the basis of everything. But I want you, if it's possible, to ask your parents to help you donate something that you have. Of course, ask your parents first. But a lot of times we have extra clothes, or maybe we have toys that we can give away. And I want you to pick, maybe it's just a couple toys, maybe it's just a couple pieces of clothes, and maybe give that to St. Vincent de Paul. We have one of those bins at church. Maybe your parents will be able to help you. But Jesus loved us so much, and we've been given so much in our life, that Jesus invites us to give back. So that's the challenge this week. Go and ask your parents if you can donate something. Give something away to someone in need. We'll see you next week.